basically what Jethro told Moses what to do.
Please welcome Wendy Rogers.
I was asked by your photographer to step up here. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I'd be among you, but I guess I'm still kind of the shortest one in my family. I'm Wendy Rogers, and I was privileged to serve my country as an Air Force officer and a pilot, and you are sitting in my congressional district. So welcome. We won the primary, great. Next morning, we got up and began running the general election campaign. The primary was about me. The general election campaign will be about her, Kyrsten Sinema. She's our congresswoman. She refused to take her oath of office on the Bible.
Did not know that.
She is a cheerleader for the Obama administration. She helped author Obamacare, the architect. She is a career politician. So this race will be about Kyrsten Sinema. Well, Wendy Rogers. Is it winnable? She's got this war chest. And to you, I say this: no amount of money can conceal the fact that she has been a cheerleader for the Obama administration. All of that will come out. And to answer your question, it is statistically very winnable. This is one of the top 10 congressional races in the United States to flip a seat from being Democrat to Republican. And Jackson, please hand out the clipboards, because I want each of you to take one of these half sheets of paper and look at that piece of paper, because I've given you 5 choices on how you can help. So I want you to check off one or more choices and give that sheet of paper back to Jackson. And Shane Whitfors, please hold up the map. This is the district. Well, Wendy, I don't live in the district. You can help me anyway. We need everybody's help. We need people from District 6, where David Schweikert is the congressman. We need people from District 5, which is Matt Salmon's district. All of my congressmen, by the way, the 4 Republican congressmen in Arizona, are completely on board helping me in this campaign, as are our 2 U.S. senators. Why? Because it's winnable. Why? Because it's another voice at the table in the United States Congress. I'm wearing this pin, some of you know. Remember Ruth McClung, the rocket scientist?
Yes.
Who went against Raul Grijalva? She and her mom reached out to me a few months ago and said, we don't have money to give you, Wendy Rogers, but you're the only candidate we're going to stand behind and do this for, and we're going to make you buttons. And I said, well, you know, we're in the age of Facebook now and Twitter. I wasn't sure about the buttons, but you know what? These buttons have the airplane on them that I flew in the United States Air Force, the C-141. And it's very special to me what Ruth did to make these buttons as a donation. So walk with me. Take one of these buttons. Go door to door with me. This race will be won. And it's a privilege and an honor to run for the United States Congress, and I will serve you honorably because I'm a worker and a fighter. My website is my name, wendyrogers.org. Wendy like the hamburgers, Rogers like Roy Rogers.org. wendyrogers.org. Questions? Yes, sir.
When you get to Congress, your first act is going to vote for speaker. Is this where conservatism drops with John Boehner? I mean,
I hope we have good choices to vote for speaker, and I'll handle that when it comes. I will promise you that I will vote with honor and conviction. And I'm 60 years old. I just turned 60. I still run 2 miles every morning, so I've, got to work twice as hard to stay half as fit, right? I'm going to Washington to represent my district. I've lived here 18 years. We've raised our children here. We have grandchildren here. This is very personal for me. And I've been a small business owner. I still meet payroll, serve my country. I was the 5th generation. Our son, by the way, got his diploma today as a PhD in electrical engineering. And you know what? I took a picture of my daughter-in-law next to the diploma because she, a very specialized registered nurse and mother to our 2 grandchildren, put in a lot of effort to help him get there. It's families. It's a family I left behind when I deployed for 6 months. It's families that I honor in my family. Yesterday would have been my parents' 69th wedding anniversary. My father came home from World War II, met my mother, and they married 3 weeks later.
wow.
I could tell you a lot of stories, but suffice it to say that you won't wonder when you open the newspaper on a Saturday morning how Colonel Wendy Rogers voted. You won't be surprised.
Amen.
More, yes, sir.
So will you work to get rid of the Department of Education?
If I can get rid of the Department of Education, I will do what I can to support that effort. It's very difficult, however, to get rid of bureaucracy once it's set up. I'm a realist and a pragmatist, and I home taught my children through the 6th grade. They went to charter school for junior high and high school, and then both graduated ASU Barrett Honors Program. I am one who believes in local control of schools and that the parents are the best qualified to decide what choice among many choices is best for their children. Yes, sir.
How come there is no caucus of Republican representatives in the West that are working to get rid of the BLM?
The Bureau of Land Management.
Yes.
I would have to get back to you on that. And also, I'm not in the Republican Party leadership, and so I will tell you from a candidate standpoint, just over the past year and a half, running my own congressional campaign, that I've had to raise every dime myself and recruit every volunteer myself. The Republican Party doesn't get involved, typically speaking, at the primary level. So I've been pretty hunkered down and focused to get to where I stand today. And as time goes on, I will be dealing more with the Republican Party, but thus far, it's been Wendy Rogers on her own, with the help of volunteers. Ann?
Weren't you one of the top 10 non-incumbent fundraisers?
The question, and I don't know the answer, but the question is, was I not one of the top 10 Republican challenger,
That's
not an incumbent fundraisers in the country? I wouldn't be surprised. 1,400 people have donated to my campaign from all over the country because I make a lot of phone calls.
And your endorsements, Governor?
Oh, my endorsements include Congressman Trent Franks, Congressman David Schweikert, this was before the primary, Sheriff Paul Babu, Phoenix City Councilman Sal DeCiccio, and a number of out-of-state, Governor Huckabee, thank you, and a number of out-of-state congressmen and women who want more veterans in Congress. Right now, Congress is comprised of only 19% veterans. That's why we have these problems at the Phoenix VA. That's why we have this problem on the border, other than the executive.
Wendy, I'm sorry, go ahead, Ralph.
I'm just going to ask, has the Republican National Committee showed any interest after the election that you won?
The question is, has the National Republican Congressional Committee come on board yet to help me in my campaign? We hope so soon. We've been in touch, yes, on a daily basis. Yes, sir.
Are you in touch with Sally from Tucson, with Sally?
Oh, Martha McSally,
Yes.
of course. She's a good friend. We knew one another briefly in the Air Force. She was a cadet at the Air Force Academy when I was a squadron commander there. She's a little younger than I am. She flew fighters. Fighters were not available to me. I was one of the first 100 women pilots in the Air Force, and so I flew, the only two things available to me in my age group were transports and tankers. Martha's a great candidate. She's 12 years younger than I am. I have kids and grandkids, and yeah, but we both run every day, and of course we're in contact from time to time. She's a great...
She's got a great chance, I think.
She does. The question or statement was she has a great chance. Let me make sure everybody understands something. Tucson is a different landscape than Phoenix. Okay, we all... okay.
Primarily all members.
Actually, this district, I'm kind of glad you brought that up. This district, Congressional District 9, has a Republican voter registration advantage. It is what they say in the political parlance, R+1, Republican +1. So, it is winnable.
And why did the communists like Kirsten Sinema?
Great question.
The other candidate took over.
Okay, let me address that. It's a twofold question. How did Kirsten Sinema win 2 years ago? And yes, there was a third-party candidate. Kirsten Sinema perpetrated the ultimate ruse by saying that she was a moderate. She got away with it. Now we have 2 years of her voting record to refute that. And believe you me, I will. She's got a voting record. Yes, sir.
Where do you stand on amnesty and illegal immigration?
Secure the border.
About amnesty?
I do not condone amnesty in any way, shape, or form.
Wendy, one of the interesting debates going on right now that has divided grassroots organizations, and it's even divided the Republican Party to a degree, and that's this issue of impeachment. You have one faction that's saying, why waste your time with impeachment if you don't have the votes in the Senate? And the other side is saying, stand on principle. If he's committed impeachable offenses, rally the troops and make a statement. Where would you stand on that? Would you rally with the side of moving forward with the impeachment proceedings? Or do you believe that it's not in our best interest to do that, given the fact that all things being equal, at least as of right now, we wouldn't sustain a conviction in the Senate?
As of this moment, I would not support impeachment.
You want to lose
Yes, sir.
every Republican vote from now on?
Providing that you
I think
do
we need to make a
win the
statement.
Senate and the
We need to
House
win.
in November, would you support impeachment?
Again, at this point, I would not. I would have to evaluate the situation after I'm elected.
How much more does he have to do?
Yeah,
Let's get it on record what he's done.
you have to see how many votes are in the Senate.
No, you just have to get it on
Ralph.
record.
Did you ever jump out of an airplane?
No, I disagree with you entirely on the
The
impeachment.
question is, have I ever jumped out of a perfectly good airplane? Yes, 5 times. I do have the parachutist badge, the U.S. Army parachutist badge. And by the way, I had to pull my own ripcord. And I was almost 33 when I did it, so.
Is there a Libertarian candidate again in this race?
That's a great question, and we're still trying to determine that. The question is there a Libertarian candidate in the race?
That's what Nick's Vernon Parker.
Well, your question is that is what nixed Vernon Parker. Anecdotally, we think about half would have gone for her and half would have gone for him, so we're not really sure that that's statistically true, but to your question, we don't know yet technically whether there will be a third-party candidate, but let me just reassure you that if there is, I will still win, and I'll tell you why. Not only are we running a textbook military operation campaign, but Democrats will vote for me. And Libertarians will vote for me. And a lot of independents will vote for me. Why? Because I've served my country. Because I meet a payroll. Because I've raised a family. Kyrsten Sinema has done none of that. And we, as a result, again, will evaluate her record. She will be under the microscope. And she can run, but she cannot hide.
Right.
From Wendy Rogers.
Amen.
Military force against ISIS or against Russia in Ukraine.
The question is, where do I stand on using the Department of Defense, my fellow brethren, on countering the ISIS threat or Russia versus Ukraine and so forth? Whatever the military is called to do, the military will salute smartly and do. That requires a commander-in-chief who knows what it means to deploy forces in the strategic interest of the United States.
You need to get one of those.
Imagine that.
Don't know after.
Until we take the Senate and hold the House, we are going to have to submit to a commander-in-chief who is continually apologizing for our country and not embracing American exceptionalism. And I've probably said it in this room, but I know what the difference is. I spent nearly half my career overseas flying, and I can tell you there is a palpable difference between flying under Bill Clinton and George H.W. Bush, which were my two difference in experiences. When I flew under President Clinton, we couldn't get clearances. We kept getting messed with for diplomatic overflight clearance. It's real interesting. And when I flew international missions under George H.W. Bush, we got stuff done. People responded to us favorably because, why? They respected our country. I know the difference serving in the military under one commander-in-chief versus another. And this is where it comes back to the eternal truth. Leadership starts at the very top. Okay, yes.
Just to follow up on the ISIS-ISIL issue, what about the issue of congressional approval? We have a lot of people that are just buying into this idea that the president can go out without a strategy, engage in these strikes without getting congressional approval. Where do you stand on that particular issue?
Every time the commander-in-chief commits forces, there should be at least congressional oversight. And, you know, I was having a conversation with Congressman Chris Stewart of Utah, who is a B-1 pilot, sorry, B-2 pilot, B-2. And last year when I talked to him, he said, Wendy, it's just amazing how uninformed the White House is on the use of our forces. And I know that because he said he went over, he was called in by the White House Chief of Staff to make inputs. And that's what he told me. So how will I serve? I get asked, and I've told you, Shane, I will ask to serve on the House Intelligence Committee. And that requires somebody, as the chairman told me, Chairman Mike Rogers, someone who understands what a top secret clearance is, because I've had one. And it's the only committee in Congress that actually makes decisions on life and death. So that's where I will ask to serve my country. But as with anything, I will serve at the pleasure of where Congress puts me. I want to serve you and my country.